Hello, YouTube! My name is Scott, and welcome to another episode of Opinions No One Cares About, a video series that's guaranteed to help you achieve nirvana. And if you can't, achieving Pearl Jam is just as good. So I think I've made it clear by now that I'm a Trekkie. My first video was about Star Trek. I've sorted characters into Hogwarts houses. There's the shirt. And I know that I'm nowhere near the same level as some of my favorite YouTubers who talk about Trek. Comparing one of my videos to any of theirs would be like comparing the Telosians to the Q Continuum. Don't worry, ever since I did the last video, I've been working out my nerd muscles. Nothing's getting pulled today. Despite that, I decided to take a look at a particular part of Trek that has probably been dissected all over the place, but to heck with it. I can spout off any opinion I want. This is America! Well, this is YouTube. This is America! Not a good sign if I'm already starting to get nonsensical. Anyway, I'm going to discuss the Kobayashi Maru. Now, I'm going to assume that if you're this far into the video and you know your Star Trek, then you know what I'm talking about. But if you don't, a brief explanation will follow. The Kobayashi Maru is a test administered to command-level cadets at Starfleet Academy. We see it for the first time in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, the greatest Star Trek movie ever made. Fight me! While on a routine patrol, the cadet, in this case a Vulcan named Saavik, receives a distress call from the Kobayashi Maru, a civilian freighter which struck a gravitic rift in the Klingon neutral zone. Since the cadet ship is the only one in the area, they must attempt to fly in and effect a rescue. Unfortunately, things go haywire when 3 Klingon battlecruisers show up. This is the traditional definition of the test, by the way, as the enemy was most likely changed after the Federation made peace with the Klingon Empire. A peace that is owed in no small part to Captain Rachel Garrett of the Enterprise C, who defended a Klingon outpost to the death against an attacking Romulan fleet. Okay, working those nerd muscles a little harder than I thought. The simulation is programmed to make it impossible for the cadet to save both their ship and the Maru, and leave the neutral zone without engaging the Klingon ships. And since the Klingons have overwhelming resources and show absolutely no mercy, the inevitable result, almost every single time, is the simulated destruction of the cadet's ship. So what's the point of a test that can't be beaten? Eventually in the movie we find out that the Kobayashi Maru is meant to be a test of character. It's supposed to evaluate a cadet's decision-making skills in the face of a no-win scenario. Which does make sense. In deep space, no-win scenarios probably come along more often than the TV shows and movies would like to admit. In the Kelvin timeline, we learn that Spock was the one who designed the Kobayashi Maru exam as a way for cadets to learn to experience fear. But I don't subscribe to this idea myself, because how much actual fear can you experience in a simulation where you know you're not in any real danger? That to me is one of the flaws of that movie. That and the fact that it's basically a carbon copy of Wrath of Khan, which I mentioned in a previous video, link below. By now you're probably asking if I have a point to all this. And the answer is yes. Yes, I do. Oh, you probably want to know what my point is. Okay, I've been moving very slowly towards this. Starfleet Academy doesn't need the Kobayashi Maru anymore. At least not in the way we currently know it. And I say that because of this, these men. In both the original and Kelvin timelines, the Kobayashi Maru is infamous for being beaten by only one person. Kirk very famously hacked the test, reprogramming it to make it winnable. This, plus the reputation the test had already garnered for itself, led to this scene from Season 4 of Star Trek Discovery, between Captain Michael Burnham and Federation President Layra Rilak in the 32nd century, because in an earlier season... No, I said I wasn't going to do that. To the clip?
The test is rigged, Lena. Kobayashi Maru. They don't tell you that up front. So when you fail, you go back to your quarters and all you can think about is how you want to retake it. How you can be the one to beat it.
And there's my point. Once Kirk beat the test, the objective of every cadet who took it after him was to do the same thing. So, is it really a true test if the cadets know what's coming? All they have to do is see that they're scheduled to take the Kobayashi Maru exam, or if their exam doesn't have a name and it's just a scheduled time, once they're running the simulation and they see the name on that freighter, their mentality is going to immediately switch to, okay, what can I do to beat it? I mean, Discovery took place right around the TOS era before time traveling into the future. And even then, the point was obviously lost on the cadets because their focus was more on making the history books and beating the unbeatable exam. So what should Starfleet do here? Well, when I was writing this script, a particular episode of TNG actually came to me. Specifically, this one. We learned from the episode Coming of Age that part of the Starfleet entrance exam is a psych test. For Wesley Crusher, this means a simulation which is similar to the accident that claimed his father's life. Wes finds himself in a destroyed lab, with one man frozen with fear in a corner, and another one trapped underneath a pipe. When the man in the corner won't move to help him, Wesley frees the man that's trapped under the pipe and drags him out of the lab before the computer seals the doors shut to contain an imminent explosion. And then that's when this happens. Wesley's absolutely shocked when the man whose life he saved gets up and shakes his hand and then walks away like it was nothing. But probably not as shocked as when the guy who cowered in the corner just walks out as well. And that's when he realizes the truth.
That was the test.
That's an effective test because Wesley didn't know it was a test. And that's what Starfleet needs to do with this Kobayashi Maru. Keep the idea of the no-win scenario. That part's important. But instead of using it for one well-known scenario, program multiple tests to be unwinnable, and basically select one at random for a cadet to take. If they don't know it can't be beat, then they don't go into it with that mentality, and they're just trying to get a high passing grade instead of making the history books. You know, the objective people should be aiming for when taking a test. There you go, Starfleet. Create multiple no-win scenarios to help demystify the Kobayashi Maru and see the positive effect on your cadets' grades. Simple enough solution, yeah? And it could have boiled down to just a couple of lines of dialogue somewhere in the Trek universe instead of everything I just went through. Honestly, I don't know why you Trek writers haven't thought of it already. I mean, it's not like Star Trek can be accused of bad writing, right? Hey guys, thanks for sticking through all the way to the end of the video. I hope you liked it. If you did, you know the usual YouTube stuff to do. Like, comment, share, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. And if you like Star Trek, and I assume you do if you got this far, my friend Dan Leckie runs the YouTube channel Subspace Chatter. And every week he hosts a live stream on Saturday mornings that I am proud to co-host on occasion, where we discuss the latest episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. If that seems like something you'd like to watch and enjoy, it's every Saturday morning at 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. Come check it out. It's a lot of fun to do. I assume it's a lot of fun to watch as well. With that said, until next time, I have been Scott, and this has been Opinions No One Cares About. Everyone has opinions. This one was mine.